Yo, what's good, kings and queens? It's your boy Don, and I'm back for another reaction video today. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and hit all so you know every time I post, you heard. If you're not new to the channel, please hit that like button. Thank you for popping back out. Please put your socials down below, you heard. Today, y'all, we're going to be reacting to the top 10 most disturbing human experience performed in the United States. I don't know any of them. So if you know any, before we get into the video, please put it in the chat down below. Let me know, you heard. Let me know if any that y'all know of already that have been performed. Like I said, I know zero. So I'm not, this is my first time seeing something like this. Hopefully I'll be able to learn something. I will be able to learn something today, but hopefully I'll be able to, endure it so I could watch something like this again, you heard. Other than that, all of my social media is up there. So please follow all my social media, you heard. So let's get into the video. Let's see what they talking about today, you heard. What's up?
That's wrong, 240 volts.
2006, the heist.
These horrible acts were committed in the name of science.
Oh, in science. What?
And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 terrible experiments performed in the United States.
Known as the
so this is legal.
Show trials.
Oh, you know what, y'all? You know what they're going to show? I do know one. I'm lying. The prison one. I know they're going to show that same one. Because everybody shows that one as the top 10 for whatever reason. So I know that's going to be in here. The prison experiment. Y'all going to see it when we get to it. I'm going to be like, yeah, that's it right there. Because I did a reaction to something similar before that had it. But I know that they're going to have it. Because it's always top 10 for whatever reason. Let me see. I'm going to cheat. Yo. So no, it's not in here. The Vanderbilt vitamin drinks is in here. So that's great. I'm glad it's not in here. So I get to explore some new experiments. I'm sorry, I'm bugging out. I definitely know experiments because I watched something similar. If y'all didn't see it, I'm going to put it up there. I'm bugging out. I watched so many videos, but I learned so much. But I'm glad I got, a refresher, you heard. So check up there to watch the last one. Those experiments were even crazier, you heard. Let's get back into the video, though, you heard.
Give the world its first public glimpse of mind control.
For this list, we're looking at examples of human experimentation executed in the U.S. that were harmful to their test subjects.
It was important. They were supposedly untreated, and it would be undesirable to go ahead and use large amounts of penicillin to treat the disease because it would interfere with the study.
Please note that some of these stories could not be proven as 100% factually accurate, and as such may only be commonly repeated rumors. However, we've done our best to get the most accurate information possible.
An overwhelming number who say they were intentionally exposed to mustard gas in secret experiments have been denied benefits for decades.
Number 10, wow. Project MK Ultra. Officially sanctioned in 1953 and backed by the CIA, this series of experiments studied the effects of mind control with methods like hypnosis, drugs, isolation, and sensory deprivation used to modify human behavior.
This is what they did. They did chemicals, they did biologicals, they did disguises, they did electronics, secret writing, and the like.
The CIA enlisted the help of prisons, hospitals, and more than 40 universities to perform experiments on subjects without their knowledge. In one of these sub-projects, Operation Midnight Climax, prostitutes who were secretly working for the CIA gave clients LSD. And while these men were under the influence, they were spied on through a one-way mirror. Wow. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the destruction of all records related to MK Ultra, but subsequent investigations led by Senator Frank Church and Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, in addition to 20,000 records recovered in 1977, were able to shed light on these activities. Number 9. The Stanford Prison Experiment.
Oh, this is it.
Designed by psychologist Philip Zimbardo, the goal of this 1971 experiment was to examine the psychological impact of imprisonment.
Yep.
For the experiment, the psychology building at Stanford University was turned into a prison, with 24 undergraduate students divided into two groups, prisoners and guards.
I don't look on it as an experiment or a simulation.
Go watch this movie or this documentary if you haven't.
Instead of run by the state.
They took their commitment to their
If you haven't watched this, go check it out.
I don't look on it as an experiment or a simulation. It's just a prison that was run by psychologists instead of run by the state.
They took their commitment to their roles to disturbing levels, with the guards doling out abuse and the prisoners accepting it. Things got so intense that some students had to be removed due to the trauma. Although the exercise was supposed to last 2 weeks and had the interest of the U.S. Marine Corps and Navy, it was shut down after just 6 days, when the repercussions of the experiment became clear. Number 8. The Milgram Experiment. Fascinated by what motivated Nazi officers to commit atrocities during World War II, Yale psychologist Stanley Milgram set up an experiment to see just how far Americans would go before their conscience stopped them.
The answer is, he's laughing.
Right. It's hard to understand exactly why. Part of it is the absurdity of the situation, and part of it is the nervousness that they're feeling.
In the 1960s experiment, a teacher would read questions to a learner, who was actually an actor pretending to participate in the study. When the learner got an answer wrong, the teacher gave what he believed to be a real electric shock, progressing in 15-volt increments up to 450 volts.
Did it sound as if he was in pain?
Yeah.
If the teachers objected, they were forced to administer it regardless. After being assured that they would be free of all responsibility, the teacher typically complied, even when the learner screamed in agony.
That's wrong. 225 volts.
2/3 of the 40 test subjects went all the way to 450 volts, proving how much we're ingrained to obey authority, even if we believe it to be morally or legally unjustified.
Dang.
Be right. Yeah. Please continue.
Number 7. Dr. Leo Stanley's San Quentin prison experiments. As chief surgeon at San Quentin, Dr. Leo Stanley used prisoners for various experiments from 1913 to 1951, with some verging into dark territory. These experiments included sterilization and possibly finding treatments for Spanish flu. A strong supporter of eugenics, Stanley performed vasectomies on inmates who were sold on the idea of better health, reformed behavior, and a stronger sex drive. In one project that aimed to find a source of rejuvenation, Stanley used live prisoners for surgery that transplanted testicles, human or otherwise.
What?
The experiment began with testicles sourced from executed prisoners, but when the supply ran dry, Dr. Stanley began using boar and goat testes in his work. Number 6.
How?
The Boston Project. Working with the Oak Ridge National Laboratory from 1953 to 57, Dr. William Sweet, who was the chief neurosurgeon at Harvard's Massachusetts General Hospital, gave uranium injections to 11 cancer patients who were terminally ill, with all but one reportedly suffering from brain tumors. Dr. Sweet was interested in learning how the distribution of uranium affected the body and whether it could be used to treat tumors. In 1995, under testimony, Dr. Sweet claimed he had consent from all his patients for his experiments. However, a lack of supporting documents, as well as the case of one patient who was found unconscious and later died without regaining consciousness or being identified, makes those claims slightly dubious. Number 5. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment. From 1932 to 1972, 600 African American farmers from Alabama were selected for a U.S. Public Health Services program, receiving free health care and other benefits for their cooperation. However, they weren't told they were actually being studied. 399 of the men had syphilis, while the other 201 were used as a control group. Many of these subjects, poor and often illiterate sharecroppers, didn't even know they had the disease. Even after penicillin was developed as a cure for syphilis in 1947, the treatment was withheld from the patients, as was access to proper information or treatment. Many ultimately died of syphilis, with at least 40 women contracting it from their husbands, and nearly 20 children born with it. As a result of an information leak, the project was shut down in 1972. But it wasn't until 1997 that President Bill Clinton formally apologized on behalf of the government for what happened.
The 8 men who are survivors of the syphilis study at Tuskegee are a living link to a time not so very long ago that many Americans would prefer not to remember.
Number 4. The University of California experiments on newborns. Leading up to a study published in the Medical Journal of Pediatrics, 113 newborn babies, no older than 3 days old, were experimented on by scientists at the University of California's Department of Pediatrics in the early 1960s.
Okay.
Studies conducted on the babies included a battery of bizarre and seemingly unnecessary experiments regarding blood flow and pressure. In one test, over 40 babies were placed on circumcision boards and held upside down, while doctors measured how their blood flowed to their head. In another, babies were placed ankle deep in ice-cold water, while a catheter was inserted into their aorta in an effort to monitor their aortic pressure. Number 3, Dr. Bender forces electroconvulsive therapy on children. While working as a neuropsychiatrist at New York's Bellevue Hospital, Dr. Loretta Bender decided an effective treatment for children with developmental disorders or schizophrenia was electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT, previously called electroshock therapy. In 1947, Dr. Bender sent small electric currents through the brains of 98 children, all of whom were 12 or under, and one of whom was 3. Another of Dr. Bender's methods for trying to alleviate schizophrenia was to give her young patients LSD. Ted Chabasinski was one of the children who went through the therapy when he was 6 years old, and he later became a human rights activist who successfully fought against the use of electroshock therapy in Berkeley, California.
Nice.
Calm down. The best thing we can do is go on with our daily routine. All right?
Number 2, military experiments with mustard gas during World War II. In 1943, the Navy recruited upwards of 60,000 young men for a study. Only they weren't asked to participate. They were told. Only when they arrived at the Naval Research Laboratory in Washington, D.C., did they find the real purpose of the study, to measure the effects of mustard gas and other chemicals on humans.
They rubbed a liquid chemical on my arm and hands and had me breathe the gas without a mask on. I had no protective clothing in the gas chamber.
Locked in chambers and exposed to the deadly gas, the men involved in these experiments suffered horrible health effects, including internal and external burns. Additionally, as it was a wartime experiment, they were bound by oaths of secrecy and faced dishonorable discharge or imprisonment if they spoke of the order, the details of which were not formally declassified until 1993. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Number 1, Vanderbilt University's vitamin drinks. Following World War II, researchers at Vanderbilt University gave over 800 pregnant women a mysterious concoction they were told was a special vitamin drink. It was actually mixtures that contained doses of radioactive iron, as the scientists were testing its absorption rate during pregnancy. The radiation these women were exposed to was reportedly 30 times higher than normal. Around 3 or 4 children died of cancer or leukemia as a result of the experiment, and some mothers developed rashes, lost hair and teeth, and contracted various types of cancer themselves. In 1994, almost 40 years later, Vanderbilt University faced a lawsuit for the 4-year study and was forced to pay out more than $10 million in damages. Do you agree with our list?
Not bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
We ran them pretty ragged.
If y'all like this list, please let me know down in the comments which one was y'all most like. Y'all were like, dang, like which one got y'all at y'all seat for real. Yo, also let me know down in the comments if y'all want me to react to something else similar to this. Like I mentioned, I did react to something else similar to this before. That's why I am coming back. I'll put it up there, so if you haven't checked it out, y'all get to see it. You heard my social media is right there, so everybody gets to see it. It's right here. You heard. Please follow. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell, so y'all can see every time I post. Other than that, I just posted another video. Y'all should go check it out. It's crazy. It's epic. About to go post another one right now. I'm gonna see y'all there. You heard. Peace, love, dawn.